Hello, welcome to the webinar. What are we going to call tonight? Tonight is all about getting what you want. So this is the Getting What You Want webinar. It's different from Tuesdays with Troy. After much thought and as we approach the new year, I wanted to create something for you that could really get you present. So, excuse the feedback there. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to take a good look at what it's going to take for you to have what you want in your life. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a home, whether it's a car, whatever it is, we really want to take a good look at your life and have you get clear on what it is that you want, especially as we approach the new year. So there are some of us that really are committed to making resolutions. You know, the new year comes along and we make a resolution and we go, okay, this is what I want. And we're okay with that. But what happens with our resolution is that by the end of the month we forget about it and we put no actions in place to help us fulfill on our wants, and then what we want becomes like a huge big wish list and really something that's just not possible to obtain. So the good news is that those of us who make resolutions do have the freedom to want, but we don't have the freedom from want because we don't follow through and take the actions necessary to get what we want. So that's one group of people. The second group of people that exist in the world are those who don't give themselves the freedom to want. They simply don't want anything, or they don't want much. It's like they're afraid to want because they don't want to be disappointed. So they live their lives just sort of going through life, and you know, it's whatever happens is what happens, and then whatever happens is really what happens. They live their life by happenstance. So there are those of us who try to be cause in the matter of our life by creating what we want, and there are those of us who don't have the audacity to want. So we're at the effect of whatever life offers us. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Melissa, and Melissa will be joining us, and she will be taking your questions as you write them in. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Okay, and what Melissa will be doing is she'll be reading your questions and she'll bring them to my attention to the best of her ability. Okay? All right, so we're going to do the want thing.
Okay,
Yeah?
let's do it.
Do you have some wants?
Oh my gosh, I have a couple, yes, especially for the new year.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are watching, just right now, I'd like you to get present to something that you want for yourself, something that you really want in your life. Okay? Just really give yourself the freedom right now. Even if you're not the type of person who's ever wanted anything, I want you to forget who you've been in your past. We're going to create you newly tonight. So I want you to get really present to something that you want, and by the end of this show you will absolutely have the tools to acquire that which it is that you say that you want, and you'll have a good time doing it. Okay, we're going to put you on a nice journey tonight. So Melissa, what is it that you want? Like, what are you creating for the new year?
Okay, so for the new year, the biggest thing I want is to be able to make a difference for the younger generation, people in their 20s like me. Okay. And I want to do that through possibly a webinar or a TV show, or just broadcasting myself and sharing what it is that I've learned through my life journey.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you want a new career.
Yes.
That's inspiring and allows you to make a difference for others.
Yes.
Okay, great.
That's what I want.
All right, so that's what I'd like you guys to do, is to look and see what is it that you want and be as specific as you possibly can. All right, and then the other thing that I want to ask you to look at is what belief about yourself would you need to give up in order to have this want realized in your life. So there are things that I want, and what I have to always continuously give up is this story, this belief about myself, which is that I don't deserve it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll want something and I'll think, oh, I don't deserve it. You know, why do I deserve it? You know, I come from a very large family. We grew up in the projects. You know, some of my family, you know, I've got two brothers that are in jail. I've got, you know, cousins that, you know, are on welfare. And then here I am, like, how dare I, you know, want big. Yeah. So I get into my head like I should just be so grateful for what I have. And I am grateful for what I have, but I have to keep reminding myself that I can be grateful for what there is to come, and I can give myself the freedom to want. So what I would have to give up is the belief that I don't deserve it because I compare myself to other people who aren't as fortunate. So I'd like to hear from those of you who are watching right now, just to make sure that we are on the same page. I'd like to hear what it is that you want, that you really want, and what belief about yourself would you need to give up in order to have it. So you want a new career, right?
Yeah, I want a new career.
Okay.
That's inspiring.
That's inspiring. Okay,
Yeah.
and what would you have to give up? What belief about yourself would you have to give up?
What I would have to give up is that I can't really have it. That I could get close to it, but that it's maybe it's too big for me. You know, maybe that I'm not ready to have it.
You're not prepared.
Yeah, I'm not prepared. I'm too young.
Ah, okay. All right, so that's what you would have to give
Yeah.
up. So there's what you want, and then there's this big old barrier that's standing there. It's derived from your belief system about yourself that stops you. It's like a wall. So every time you say, I want this, and boom,
Yeah.
you're knocked down.
Yeah.
All right, so do we have any people sharing?
Yeah, actually we do. We have some people sharing with us their wants.
Okay, great.
All
Love
right.
to hear it.
All right, so someone says, I want a good man, a
Okay.
good job, marriage, peace of mind, someone to love me for me.
Ah, that's great. Those are really great ones.
Someone says that they want to be married, they want to be healthy, and that they have to give up the belief that I'm getting older and not able to go back to school to get what I want.
Okay. All right. Great. Wonderful.
Someone else shares that they want to have a solid foundation in the home and in the work, and they have to give up that everyone else deserves it more.
Ah, very good. So really be present to that. For those of you who have access to a pen and a paper, I'd like you to write this down, because what happens is when you start creating a new future for yourself, the brain quickly tries to forget, because the brain likes to resort to a very familiar way of being, and what's familiar is the past.
Yes.
So the brain will try and hold on to the past. So you want to write it down, put it in existence in the real world, get it out of your head and into existence. So write down, please, what it is that you want and what you would have to give up in order to have what you want. Okay.
All right. Now, Troy, we have all of our viewers sharing what it is that they want.
Great, I want to hear them.
All right, someone says, what I want most from my life now and forever is to be able to get over the molestation I experienced as a child.
Okay.
In order to do this, I have to forgive, but how when the person that did it, my cousin, has yet to ask for my forgiveness? I have to know that I'm ready to get rid of this.
Okay, all right. So what you want is freedom, and what's stopping you is not forgiving, okay? You cannot wait for someone else to free you, right? You're going to wait for your cousin, and the longer you wait, you continue to be a victim. You were a victim once when you were molested by your cousin, and now you're a victim again because you're waiting for your cousin to ask for forgiveness. So I'm saying to you, what you want is your freedom. Claim it. You forgive him. You forgive yourself and move on. You know, forgiveness is never for the other person. Forgiveness is always for us, because we walk around, like I say, we swallow the poison and we hope that they die, right? It's these poisonous, toxic thoughts. So it's time to let go of that and really, truly move on, all right? I'm sorry that was your experience, and it doesn't have to continue to be your reality. So if you want your freedom, claim it right now. So write down freedom, and what's standing in the way is forgiveness. Forgiveness for everyone. I always say, Reverend Michael, who I really like a lot from The Secret, he says, forgive everyone all the time for everything. Okay? Great, what else do we got?
So someone says, I want to have a solid foundation in home and work. Oh, I think I read that one already. Someone wants to be married. Someone wants to be a lawyer. A good husband. I want to let my son go on to college.
Okay.
And we are very close to doing it.
Great.
I want to be a top seller in my profession and make lots of money doing it.
Okay.
I want to be able to trust men again after seeing that my sister committed suicide for one.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear about that as your experience, and I could see absolutely how that would stop you. But you know what you can do? You can let your sister's death be a legacy to your life, right? Instead of letting it stop you and you being part of the living dead, you can actually take your sister's death and declare giving life to yourself and other people in memory of what she died for. You really would do well to be of service to other people who have lost loved ones because of suicide, due to suicide. So it's important that you heal yourself so you can go and heal others. Yeah, you've got a calling. Stuff like that just doesn't randomly happen unless there's some gold somewhere. We don't have a mean God, you know. So, yeah. Okay.
Right. Some people say, I want to know how not to be the angry woman because of failed relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of people have made comments that they want to be able to forgive and move on, and to know that they can have another relationship. That's
Okay.
a very common comment I'm seeing here.
Okay, great. So there are a lot of you who want relationships. You want relationships that are empowering, and delicious, and that you're adored and you're admired, and the feeling is mutual. Okay, what's stopping you is not being a forgiving person. It's almost like you gotta forgive and forget. You just gotta move on. You know, stuff happens, and it's stopping you from living your life, so you're continuing to be a victim of your past circumstances.
Now, on that same note, I'm seeing a lot of comments as well, people saying that they want to stop loving someone who is not loving them back.
Okay. Why would you want to stop loving someone who isn't loving you back? If you love them, love them. Love them. Just don't feel like you have to do anything about your love for them. You can love them in your heart for the rest of your life. You see, you guys, when you try and resist something, then it's going to continue to persist. It's like try resisting a wall. Keep walking into it and telling yourself it's not there. After you get knocked down a few times, you're going to go, okay, the wall's there, and you're going to walk around it, and you're going to let it exist where it exists, and then you're going to create a new opening for yourself called a door. So if you really do love someone, that's your love. First of all, thank God that you have the ability to love like that in the face of no agreement. That's some serious love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really understand that you can love someone and not take any, and have no actions around it. It doesn't have to, there's nothing to do.
Yeah. You know what? I love my ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Still. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I shared this week on our webinar that I, you know, completed with him, and I'm in a new relationship now, going on 2 years this January, but I love my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, I'm not in love with him.
Right.
I don't speak to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But I love him.
Right. No. Yeah, just choose what's there, you know. You love him, love him. But the more you resist, the more it will persist. So you want to be like water and just flow. Just go with the flow. Love him. Take that love, find a nice little sweet space for it in your heart, and keep on keeping up. I very much still love my ex-fiance, the doctor that I always talk about. You know, I really do, and I love that I love him, and that's just my love, and no one can touch it, and I have no intention of doing anything about it. And trust me, he doesn't want anything to do with me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was a hot mess back then. I think I drove that boy crazy. So there
that's
you
how
go.
it goes.
That's
Yeah, it's okay.
But I still love him.
Exactly.
Okay, what else we got before
All right.
we go on to the next step?
Yeah, well, so I keep seeing a reoccurring comment here. Someone says that they want to be loved by a good man that does not run out on me, and closure from my last relationship that ended with him avoiding me.
Okay, well that's the same thing. All right, that's the same thing. That's just more of the same. I'm not gonna go over that again. You got to choose where you are. Choose where you are. Be there. Forgiveness. Now what do you want? You see, there's what you want, and then there's a barrier between you and what you want. You're going to turn that barrier into a bridge in a second. I'm going to show you how. But right now, just be really clear on what you want and what's stopping you. Okay? Anything else?
People are just sharing what they want. I mean, the biggest thing I'm seeing here, Troy, is either moving on from a relationship, completing forgiveness, or creating a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, and then job, marriage, wealth, money.
Good, good. So this is a great thing, is that you are giving yourself the freedom to want, because being caused in the matter of your life is being clear on what it is that you want, And then once you're clear on what it is that you want, you have a vision. And now what there is to do next is to start taking actions that will have that vision realized in your life. So that's what we're going to do next. So what I'd like you to do is look at that which you say you want. Be really crystal clear on what that is. And in your mind's eye, try and envision someone who has exactly what you want. Okay? So look in your mind's eye. All right, here's my secret, okay? I want to be the Oprah Winfrey of the internet. There, it's out. Okay? That's what I want. So in my mind's eye, who would I look to? Who has what I want? Oprah. I love Oprah. Okay? So you want to look and see who has what you want and how are they being. Okay? This is really important because this is going to help you with that bridge. Who has what you want and how are they being? So I look at how Oprah is being. Oprah is being a leader. She sheds light and she sheds love into the lives of others. So there's light, leadership, and love. Okay?
Now that's who she's being.
That's who she's being.
Okay.
That's my perception of who Oprah bees, right? Now remember you guys, we're human beings, not human doings. So I'm now trying to get your mind wrapped around something that you've probably never quite touched on before. So just be patient with me. Follow the steps precisely and you'll get the results, okay? So you got what you want. Now look and see who has what you want and how are they being. Okay, so we look at you, Melissa, right? And you would like to have a career, right? And so you look at someone and who has something similar to what you want and how are they being?
You know what? I'm on the same note, Tyra Banks.
Okay.
Actually, because she also has shows where she empowers other people to have what they want.
Okay, so what's a positive quality in how Tyra Banks is being?
Tyra Banks is being unstoppable.
Okay.
To me.
Yes, that's right.
Unstoppable.
Okay, great.
Nothing stops her from having
What
all her
she
shows and all of her projects.
Right. Okay. So the person she would emulate in the world of being would be Tyra Banks. Okay. Now some of you want relationships. So look and see who do you know that has a wonderful relationship, and from your perspective, how are they being? Okay. Now if it's a career that you want, a certain career, who is the leader in that particular field that you're looking at? And I want you to really notice how are they being. You want to look at someone that you can emulate the way that they're being. And I'll tell you why in just a little while, okay? So I'd like to hear from you. Who could you emulate when it comes to your wants? Who has what you want and how are they being? Okay? So let me know.
Now, Troy, I want to say two things. One person says Will and Jada Smith.
Oh, wonderful, yes.
So, but then someone else says, what if you don't know anyone personally? Because you said, look at someone that you know.
I don't know Oprah personally.
Right? So, and the person who responded originally who said Will and Jada,
yeah, you don't have to know them personally.
So
it's just your perspective of them, okay? Because I want you to be able to see the energy field, the vibration, the frequency of who they are. Because everything in the world is energy. And so if I can get you really present to who they're being, it'll help create what there is for you to do next in this exercise, okay? So Will and Jada is a wonderful example of a couple that just holds it down. You know, they have it together. And so that's great. But really look and see, who would you emulate because they have what you want in the world of being?
Some of our viewers are also saying that they admire Michelle and Barack Obama's relationship.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm going to take that on too.
Yeah.
That's right. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, other people saying President-elect Barack and First Lady Michelle.
Great.
Donald Trump.
Oh, right.
And the guys on $1 Million Listing.
Okay, good. So let's look at Michelle and President-elect Obama as a relationship. Who are they being, okay? So I would say they're being supportive and committed. So next to what you put down that you want, the beingness that you need to focus on is being supportive and being committed. Okay? Anything else?
Yeah, some people really admire their mother and father.
Oh, good. Yeah, so look and see who are your parents being in their relationship. right.
And Susan Taylor.
Oh, I love Susan. Yeah, great example.
And then someone says, Troy, you have what I want.
Okay.
And the answer that you give, I want to give to myself.
Okay, so mine is light, leadership, and love, right? And I'm emulating Oprah. So I think who she bees as a human being is someone who's light, leadership, and love. So yes, that would be our recipe for this delicious recipe that we're going to be cooking up here. Okay, anything else, Melissa?
Well, some people are just asking you questions about forgiveness and about, some of the relationships. I'm not sure this is the time to ask those questions, or if you want to move on with the segment.
I think I'd like to take a few of those, because
Okay.
it's really important to me that you guys are clear before we go into the next step, because, okay, we have what you want. You've now given yourself permission to want something, so congratulations. We now have someone that you can emulate, so you now have proof that you can actually have what you want, because it does exist in the world, and you know the beingness of the person who has it, because I'm going to have you be that in a little bit, so we'll come back to that. But before we go any further, I really do want to make sure people are clear. Yeah. Okay, so what do we have?
So someone says, how do I give all of myself to my husband and trust him?
Oh, well, the only reason you would question trust is if there was mistrust at some point, okay? Otherwise, that wouldn't be an issue or a question. So I think what there is to do is to have a conversation and create new agreements. You have to really look and see, when did the trust leave? And if the trust left, it's because an agreement was broken. You want to be honest about that, have a straightforward conversation, and create a new agreement that actually lives as a very strong possibility for the two of you, okay? Yeah. And I can understand not giving yourself fully to someone you don't trust. I mean, because, that's just like so vulnerable, and you're just opening your heart and surrendering to someone. Yeah, you can't give it up unless you got some serious trust. Yeah. Okay, what else we got?
All right, next question. How do you stop a mother? She has destroyed my love life, my kids, and our relationship. She doesn't like the fact that I'm gay. When I wasn't involved with a man, the men I was with, she didn't like. Oh, when she was involved with men, she didn't even like the ones she was involved with. Now that I'm with a woman, she is trying real hard to make me unhappy and tells me to go back to my exes.
Okay. Well, your mom's having conversations with you that are not empowering, so what there is to do is to create some boundaries for yourself. And there are certain conversations that you're not willing to have with your mother, and that one conversation for sure should be your relationships and who you're involved with, okay? Now, you don't have to be in communication with people, and you can choose who and what you listen to. So it's time for you to draw the line in the sand and let your mother know that those conversations are just not acceptable anymore. And she can continue to have them, but she'll have them with herself, because unless there's two people exchanging words, it's not dialogue, it's a monologue. So let her have her monologue, and don't be part of her captivated audience. Just get out of that space. But really, enough. Draw the line in the sand. And thank her. Thank her for sharing, but you're just not interested in her thoughts any longer. Okay?
Okay, now someone else asks, Troy, are women supposed to hide the fact that we want to be married when we're dating?
No. No, you gotta claim it. Claim it, name it and claim it. Why would you hide that? Unless you're playing hard to get. Or unless you weren't sure if he was as interested in you as you are in him. And if that's the case, then what there is to do is to have a conversation for the sake of clarity. It's like it's time to talk. And listen, you don't want to invest months and years of your time pretending you don't want to get married, hoping that he's going to want to get married, and then you turn around and he doesn't want to get married. My cousin did that. She gave the best of her 20s to this guy, and they were together for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And then when she turned like 28, he went and married a 22-year-old.
Wow.
And she really loved him. So it's all about being in communication and being straight. It's your life. It's your life by design. If you don't create it, by default, you'll suffer by happenstance. And that's why we're having this conversation tonight, you guys, because the New Year's coming up. We got a new president. We got a new view. I want you to have a new you. I want you to be clear on what you want. I want you to be clear on what it is that stops you from having what you want. I want to show you how to have access to that. It's time to turn a leaf. No more victims. Not acceptable. Okay?
Not this upcoming year.
No,
Yeah.
it's time. It's time to throw down.
That's
Hey.
right.
I mean, really, it's just time for everyone to have a great life now.
Yeah.
Not one day, someday. You know what I
Right.
say about someday?
Doesn't exist.
I'm not in any calendar I've ever seen. You know, so well, it'll be funny. One day we'll open the newspaper. It'll say someday morning. We're like, oh, this is the day I win the lottery.
Exactly.
There's no someday. There's now. Okay.
That's right.
What else we got?
All right, someone says, I'm over my last relationship. I'm open. Where are the men? Do I have to relocate to find a man?
Where the man is, well, you know, I feel you. I feel you on that. I really do, I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, girl, it's like...
Where are they?
You know what I'm doing? I just keep becoming the best me that I can possibly be, and I just keep being for myself the husband that I one day hope to see standing in front of me, because I know if I'm being it, one day I'm going to see it, right? It's all about who you be. Who you be creates you up to be like a magnet, and you draw what it is that you're committed to having, because like is attracted to like. So be the lover, husband, father for yourself that you want to find in the world, and he will show up when you least expect it. Okay? And if he has a brother, let me know.
We're here every week. Someone, Troy, is asking, how do you feel beautiful about yourself when no one sees it?
They don't see it because you don't see it. They won't see it until you see it. Beauty comes from the inside out. That's all there is to it. Until you start seeing yourself as beautiful, no one else is going to see it. Just think about it, you know, when you're really happy, you can walk in the room and make other people really happy. Just by your frequency. So what there is to do is look and see why it is that you feel that you're not beautiful. Look and see, whose story about you are you believing, including your own. And then find one thing about you that's beautiful, just one thing. I don't care if it's your left pinky nail. Find one thing about yourself that's beautiful and focus on it, because beauty, like love, grows and spreads like a virus. Just trust me on this. Find one thing beautiful about yourself and focus just on that. And that frequency and that energy field will start growing in your body. You'll go, oh wait, the pinky's nice, well the ring finger's nice, but the hand is beautiful. Oh, I like the arm. It starts growing like that. Just focused attention, okay, on one thing.
All right, Troy, there's a question I'd like to read, and it's written in parts, okay?
Okay.
So for the viewer whose question I'm going to read, if I'm not getting it right, please write your question again. I want to know how to become friends with my ex-husband, because I think that he would start being a father to our 3 kids. But he still blames me for why he cheated and doesn't hear me when I say why he cheated. But he still blames me for why he cheated and doesn't hear me when I say.
I got it. I think I got it.
You got
Okay,
it,
so this
okay.
is the thing. I wrote a book, and it's called Ex Free, 9 Keys to Freedom After Heartbreak. And the book deals with this very issue, okay? So it's available at www.troybuyer.com. If you don't want to buy the book, or for whatever reason you're not able to buy the book, if you look down to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, every key in the book we've done a webinar for. So sit down, make yourself a cup of tea, and watch the webinars. And we deal with cheating on numerous episodes.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's really some valuable information there, and I want to acknowledge you for wanting to be friends with the father of your children, in spite of the fact that he cheated on you. So that's a testament to who you are as a human being, okay? So fulfill on that. Just go, and the tools are available for you either by watching the webisodes or by purchasing the book, okay?
All right, one of our viewers, Troy, wants to know, how do you go for what you want in life if you're shy?
Okay, well good. That takes us right back to our next step here. There's what you want, and what you have to give up about yourself is whatever it is that's having you be shy, okay? So, we're gonna resume now, okay?
Okay, great.
All right, thank you guys for your questions, but I want to continue on and make sure I give you all these steps. So there's what you want, and then there's what's keeping you from having what you want, okay? Whatever that belief is about yourself that you've created. Like for me, it's I don't deserve it. Okay, so you got that. Now the next thing I ask you to do is look at someone who has what you want and look and see who they're being. Okay, now that you get who they're being, you can now get what you want. And I'll tell you why. Because in life, who you be will give you what you do, and what you do will eventually give you what you have. So it's be, do, have. Can you write that in there for
Yes,
us?
of course.
It's be, do, have. Okay? We live and we just are walking in the wrong direction. We think that if we do this, then we will finally be this, and then we'll finally have this. But that's inaccurate, okay? Because we're not human doings, so we can't start with the do. We're human beings, so we have to start with the beingness. Because who we be, again, will give us what we do, and what we do will give us what we have. And using myself as an example, what do I want is I want to be the Oprah Winfrey of the internet, right? So I look to Oprah to emulate who she's being, and she's being light, love, and leadership. Okay, so that I say, I'm going to be light, love, and leadership. So who I be now is light, love, and leadership. So what do?
You take actions consistent with
Light,
that
love, and
beingness.
leadership, right? So if I'm being light, love, and leadership, what do I do? What I do is I do my best to shed light into the lives of others. There's leadership and there's love. And so instead of waiting for someone to give me something, I bring leadership also into my own life, which is why we created these webinars.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
Because otherwise I'd have to sit around and wait for someone to tell me, okay, this is what you're going to do. So the leadership, being leader, gives me what I do. My actions are about leading, and then what do I have? We have this webinar now, which is really working out very well. It's been a lot of fun and we enjoy it, and I am on my way to having what I want. But it's all a matter of really getting clear on what I want, who I have to be to have what I want, and then my being gives me my doing gives me my actions, okay? So for those of you who want to emulate the relationship with Michelle and President-elect Obama, who are they being? Well, they're being committed, and they're being supportive. So if you take on being committed and supportive, that's going to inform your actions. And you're going to start being a committed person, you're going to start being supportive. And at the end of the day, you'll have a relationship that's committed and supportive, because you'll take commitment and support into your life, and you'll start being committed to other people, and you start being supportive. And when you start being this, it informs what you do. And you know, you might start being committed and supportive to someone at your office, and they're like, they have a brother they want to introduce you to that they never felt anyone was good enough for their brother. And there's your relationship, okay? Because you start vibrating at that frequency. We live like, if I do all these things, then I can finally have this. Like that's that barrier. When I was talking about the barriers, that conversation, what's between you having what you want and, you know, really the actions, well, what's between that is that bridge. And we live like we really have to cross that bridge. And I'm telling you, there is no bridge. All there is your beingness. If you be it, your beingness will inform your actions, so you know what to do, and then at the end of the day, that's what you'll have. So you guys, it's very important. Be, do, have. Be the person you're emulating. Take actions that are consistent with that, and at the end of the day, you will have what you want. And that's the source of having everything you want for yourself in your life, is really getting who are you going to have to be about it. And it's that simple. Isn't that something?
Yeah. Now, I'm wondering if it's that simple, why don't we know that?
Because we live
why don't we know that?
Why don't we know that? Because we live like this is what I've got to do. I got to do this. No one ever says, hey, who do you have to be to get what you want? Everyone says, what do you got to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And then the first thing that stops you is that belief about yourself. Which was my belief, is that I don't deserve it. So if I feel I don't deserve it, I'm not going to do anything.
Or be anything. You're just going to.
Well, you see, this is the difference. You will be something.
Yeah.
Do will stop. Your belief system stops your doingness. But nothing stops your beingness. Nothing. Because it's personal, it's internal, and it's by choice, and it's a declaration.
That's right.
And because we're human beings, it's perfectly in alignment with who we are. Doingness is outside of ourselves. You can stay home and be light, love, and leadership. But you got to leave your house to do stuff to get what you want, right? But if you really take on that frequency of that beingness, okay? So I just want to check in, and here I'd like to know, what are you guys getting out of this conversation? What are you hearing? How are you able to layer this onto your life now? So let me hear what's going on over there. What are we getting?
We are getting questions regarding, how do you move on? I mean, someone says, how do you get past trust issues? If you have grown up to see most of the men in your family be unfaithful to their wives, father, grandfather, uncles, and cousins, etc., how do you get past those issues?
But see, you're being stopped. You're being stopped. There is no how to. There's just the beingness. So if you see these issues, it's not about how. Just be forgiving. Be the space of forgiveness. Be the space of possibility. Like, there could actually be a different reality for you. As long as you're being stopped, you're not going to move forward. You've got to be unstoppable in spite of what you see. What you see is only there because of who you've been being about it. When you shift your perspective, you will shift your view, and you will see a completely new you. Listen, where I come from, growing up, most of the women are on social services, because we grew up on food stamps, and that's all I saw. That's all I saw. But I wasn't going to let that stop me, because I fortunately started doing transformational work when I was 17, and so I got to choose who I was going to be in the face of a world that I just didn't want for myself. And I don't have an opinion about people who need, subsidy governments, subsidizing, and it's just not for me. So new view, new you. Stop looking at that old funky stuff that doesn't empower you. Choose who you're going to be.
All right, Troy, now, someone who admires Michelle's beingness says that Michelle is supportive, okay?
Yes,
and then this viewer goes on to say, well, I am supportive, to my husband, to people around me, but I'm not seeing that in return.
Okay, all right. So you are supportive. You're being supportive. So, and what you're doing is supporting her husband and her family, and then what you're having is dissatisfaction. Then I want you to consider that who you're being in terms of support, it needs to go up a notch. It needs to, and you have to really look and see what support are you offering and what support is really needed. Because what you think they want or what they need for support may not be that. Like, you got to check in. What is it that they need in order for them to experience being supportive? And are you supporting yourself? That's the other thing. Are you supporting yourself? Are you being that for yourself?
Well, Troy, I just want to read this. This is really great. Someone says that I am being skeptical of men. My doing is not trusting them to be faithful, so I have no one. So
there you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. I saw someone that wrote be, no, do. And then that would work too. Be, no, do. K-N-O-W. Okay, that could. Be, have, do. Be, do, have. But they put be, no, do. But be careful about what you know. Because sometimes what you know is not enough. It's what you don't know. Sometimes that's where the miracles are really living. And what you know is so myopic that you can only see past, you can't see past that. You want to get into the realm of miracles, which is the uncertainty. Okay?
All right, let's see here.
What I forgot.
All right. Someone says that they're divorced, but I still have old-fashioned values. Men should make, oh gosh, we have so many questions and so many comments. Thank you everyone for participating. It's taking me a little while here. Again, if your question hasn't been asked, please continue to ask your question.
Yeah, it's growing fast.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see here.
Someone says that they believe that men should have the first move, or should make the first move.
Okay.
How do I get past this without feeling that I'm being too forward? I believe this is hindering me from meeting someone.
Okay, so, I don't think you should go being aggressive, right? But again, it's your beingness. If you can be receptive, right? Just the beingness and just put yourself out there, being receptive. And what would you do? You would create ways of letting this person know that you're ready. And then at the end of the day, you'll have that sort of affection that you're looking for. But it starts with your beingness. Your beingness will inform what you do, and then what you do will decide what you have, will determine what you have. So if you're being suppressed, you'll do suppressive things, and at the end of the day, you'll have suppression, and you'll be waiting forever. So you want to find a way to be available, receptive, intriguing, desirable, irresistible, like that. Okay?
All right, Troy, someone says, how do you be and do while wanting to have without being taken advantage of?
Well, it just depends on who you're being. So if I'm being light and love and leadership, I'm not concerned about anyone taking advantage of that, right? Because I'm being that for myself. Like, that's just who I be, right? So if you want to be loving, you just stand in being loving. That'll inform your actions of what you do and what you have. And you know what? When you're being something that's positive and that's making a difference in the universe, and it's got a positive energy and frequency, it's very rare that negativity is going to touch you. No two things can be in the same space at the same time. So you just got to anchor yourself. It's like I was dating this guy, and his energy field was just so negative, and it just wasn't a match for my light, love, and leadership, and it just disappeared. It just disappeared. It couldn't stay. It just couldn't be in the same space at the same time.
And I think also when you're being positive and you're being, in this area of possibility, you will attract those things.
You'll be a magnet.
And you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Try it out. Give it a shot and see what you're gonna attract.
Right. You'll absolutely be a magnet for it. So let's see. Wrap it up. We have any more questions?
Yeah, we have someone saying that their father was not around when they were growing up, and so they're not sure what the role of a man should be in the relationship, and she's a very independent person. So she's just wondering, like what is the role? What should she expect? How does she relate?
Let me ask you this. What if there is no such thing as gender? Then what would you create? Go from there. I think it's really, I'm really kind of getting a little tired of the gender segregation. Like, we're all human beings. We're all, we're all one in a big way. So it would be really nice if you don't have, it's probably a good thing that you don't have that, right? Because you're not bringing anyone else's baggage to the table. So why don't you create from nothing? Like, if there was no such thing as gender, what could he bring to the table of your love, and what could she bring to the table, and create something really special and different and magical? That would be great. Okay. All right.
Someone keeps asking this question, Troy. They want to know, do you believe once a cheater, always a cheater?
No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, some guys do have that genetic disposition that I was talking about in the last webisode, where there might be a gene, just like there might be some sort of genetic predisposition for alcoholics. But I do think that everybody and everything and anything is able to transform. Transformation is absolutely possible for everyone at any time, and it occurs in a conversation. Yes.
All right, next.
Yes.
Trying to move along quickly here before we end the show. Someone says, I'm being a woman that doesn't think I will meet anyone special.
So you're probably not meeting anyone special. Because your beingness is informing your actions, and your actions is informing what you have. So choose being someone who has an expectation, you know, an anticipation. Participate with anticipation, and that will inform your actions, your doing, and then that will decide what you have at the end of the day, okay? It's your past that has you not, you know, expect that you're going to meet someone special, and so that's the barrier I'm talking about with you. That's going to keep you from having what you want. That's exactly what I mean. Those barriers, those belief systems, it's time to shatter them, you guys. What do you want? Who do you have to be to get it? Not who do you have to do, but who do you have to be? I'm sorry, not what do you have to do, but who do you have to be? We're human beings, not human doings.
All right, next question. How do I trust my judgment to pick the right one in the future?
But who you want to be about it? Be open, be keen, be intuitive, be perceptive. Choose who you're going to be. Your beingness will always give you your end result. I'm really drilling this in you guys because I want you to get this now. I think you got it, and I just want to make sure. There's nothing to do. There's always just who to be. We're not human doings, we're human beings.
So that'll answer all the other questions that we haven't covered that are similar, right? Because people are asking, how do you move on? How do you have that relationship that you want? How do? So now your response is, who are you going to be about it?
Who are you going to be? Listen, my ex-husband and I had a very tumultuous marriage. There was just no harmony. Couldn't wait to get out of the relationship. Could not wait. I just couldn't stay a day longer. After we got divorced, I started really looking at how my relationship with him would impact our son. I thought, well, who do I have to be? And I have to be forgiveness. I have to be forgiveness. And when I said that to myself, that I have to be forgiveness, I just started welling up with tears because I realized it wasn't even him that I had to forgive. You know what I had to forgive?
Yourself.
I had to forgive myself. Because I was so mad at myself for not picking the right guy. I was so mad. It was like saying, you didn't pick the right guy, you have poor judgment, you're this, and that. And then the moment I forgave myself, because you know what, truly, he was the right guy. He was the perfect husband for me, and he was the perfect father for my son. But it took me really forgiving myself, and then once I was able to forgive myself, what followed was instant forgiveness for him. And now we have an amazing relationship. And it was all as a result of who I chose to be. There was nothing I did. I didn't, you know, do this, yell at him, or, you know, go get a lawyer and go after him. I didn't do any of those things. It's just who I chose to be. And it completely altered our relationship.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be great. I mean, if our viewers want to share with us, who are they going to be?
Yes.
Who are they now going to take on being? So we're going to end the show in about the next 10 minutes. So if there's a pressing question, feel free to ask. But I think that's really the lesson of our webinars. Who are we going to be in life to have what it is that we want?
Yeah, exactly. Your freedom to want, and then who are you going to be in order to obtain it? Because there's what you want, but then there's actions that you're going to need to take in order to fulfill on what you want. And how do you know what actions to take? Choose who you're going to be. Your beingness will inform your actions. Now here's the really good news, is once you really choose what you want and who you have to be to have it, you're going to have a blast on your journey. You're going to have so much fun because you're going to be being the person who you're going to be being the way you would be if you had what you wanted. You get that? You're going to already be being the person that you would be being if you had what you wanted. So what you'll realize is that what you want is what you want, but you don't even have to have that to be what this want would give you. You know? Do you get that? Which is being committed, being supportive, being loved, being forgiveness. So there's what you want and there's who you got to be to create it. And that's all there is.
Now someone is sharing with us that being honest with what I want in a relationship. They're gonna be honest.
Okay, so you're gonna take on being honest. That's wonderful. So when being honest, you're going to do honest things, you're gonna take honest actions, And at the end of the day, you will have a relationship that's given and fueled by honesty.
Now, Troy, someone wants to know, how do you teach this be, do, have to your kids?
Oh, that's really sweet. Well, how I taught my son is I said, we're human beings, not human doings, right? He goes, yep, we're human beings. I said, okay, so how do you know what are you going to do? And he had no idea. And then I put be, do, have. And then I put being, doing, having. And he got it. So human being, and then there's what you will do, and then there's what you'll have. They get it. It's the being, when you put the ing after those three, be, do, have, they get it. And that's really great to teach your kid that now, because we were raised like, you gotta do this, you gotta, you have your to-do list. Mm-hmm. Let's create a to-be list. Mm-hmm. A to-be list. And put your one right at the top of that list.
And I was going to say, probably the best way too is to lead by example. Mm-hmm. And maybe share with your kids who you're going to be for the day.
Yeah, who you're going to be today, yeah.
Share that so that people can start listening to you in that way and mm-hmm. keep you accountable, and you can create that support for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. My son always creates being kindness. That's his thing. He likes kindness. So I say to him when I say goodbye, okay, go and make someone happy today. That's his thing. He really loves doing that.
Cool. Now we have a couple more minutes until the show ends.
Okay.
Troy, would you like to answer a couple more questions?
Absolutely, yes.
Right. And feel free again, all of our viewers, to share with us who you will be being in order to have what it is that you want until we have.
Let's hear from some human beings. Who are you going to be?
That's right.
We already know what there is to do. You got to do the dishes. You got to do this, do that. Who are you going to be?
All right. One question I keep seeing over and over.
Okay.
It says, here, let me find it. If a man has commitment issues, should I move on or wait? I have been waiting for a few years now.
Well, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for his commitment issues to disappear? Listen, if you want to know what you're committed to, look at what you got. Okay? So somewhere you're committed to having someone who's not committed. Now, who are you being about it? Are you being committed about it? Are you having conversations that create a future for you guys? Who are you being about his lack of commitment? You've been being patient. You've been being waiting. You've been being at the mercy. Okay? So look and see who you're being about it. And then have a conversation with him.
Now some of our viewers are sharing that they're going to be happy with themselves, loving and forgiving.
Ooh, yep. I like that. I like that.
Honest, committed, loving. Okay, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Troy, it's actually a comment, Troy.
Okay.
Someone says, Troy, just want you to know that you're a blessing to all of us.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? You are all a blessing to me, because this is truly what I live to do. It's the air that I breathe, is to make a difference and be with you guys. So thank you. You know how some musicians have to play music? Mm-hmm. Yeah, transformation work is just near and dear to my heart. So thank you.
All right, question for you. Should I be worried that the mate I am looking for is not going to take advantage of my giving commitment, honesty, love, and attention? Are they going to, does she have to be worried that they will take advantage of who she's committing to being now?
No, don't worry. Just anchor yourself in who you're going to be. And if it's not consistent with that, it will fall by the wayside. You'll create an energy field for yourself that's vibrating at a certain frequency, because everything is energy, you guys. You know it. You walk into a room, you can feel negative energy, you can feel positive energy. If you anchor yourself in your beingness, you'll vibrate at a frequency, and anything that's inconsistent to that will fall by the wayside, I promise you, without a doubt. You will not be unevenly yoked with someone. It's not at the same frequency. And it'll be like chalk on a blackboard. I mean, nails on a blackboard for you.
All right, Troy, I want to read this to you before I lose it. Help. My husband says he wants to change after cheating, but there's a child as a result of the affair.
You're doing a great job, Melissa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you really are. You're doing a great job, you guys.
Thank you for your patience, everybody.
Okay, so he was cheating and...
And the only way for me to move on is that... The only way for me to move on is for the communication to come through. The woman won't do it because she still wants contact with my spouse, and my husband feels his only choice is not to be a father to the kids.
Okay.
Or not to give me what I need to move on. Do I leave my husband, which feels like letting her win? Okay, so it looks like her husband is having an affair.
He had an affair that
He
produced
had-
a child.
Yes.
Now he's back with her,
Yes.
and there's a child involved.
Yes, and now she's wondering, should I let him go? And her concern is that it's going to be a win for the other woman if she lets her husband go.
Okay, listen, it's not about you anymore, okay? It's not. It's about the child first, okay? Let's put the child first. The child needs his or her father, okay? Very sorry that was your experience, but this is not an ego thing, okay? This is your husband, he cheated. Question is, can you forgive him? And if you can forgive him, then can you support him with his accountabilities and responsibilities for this child's life? Because this child is now also your child, okay? Because he's part of your husband, or she's part of your husband. It has nothing to do with that other woman winning or losing. That woman will have to deal with her own karma. Don't worry about that. You deal with, are you going to be a support system for your husband? Are you going to stand by him in spite of his mistakes? Are you going to forgive him? Has he promised you that he's not going to do this again? Do you believe him? These are the things that you need to be looking at. You don't need to be focusing on whether or not this woman's going to walk away feeling like she got one over on you. Okay? Irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Now, if you cannot forgive your husband and you don't believe that he's not going to do it again, then I say you pack your bags and you leave. This is not a relationship for you. You don't need to be stressing out over some other woman's victories or losses. That's not your job. Your job is to either stand by your husband through better or worse, right? Or move on. Yeah. It's sad. I mean, it's too bad you have to deal with that, but you just got to shift your focus a little bit here, okay? Okay. All right. So, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. The room is packed, and we just love having you with us. And as you approach the new year, it's really important that you be clear what it is that you want. Create your vision. Be clear on what it is that stops you. And when you see it popping up trying to stop you, understand that's just a barrier, and get to who you're being. Look to see who you emulate and anchor yourself in who you're being. And then that will always put you back on track, because that will give you your actions that will be consistent with what you do in order to fulfill on what it is that you say that you want, okay? It's a clear, definite road. I wish you a very, very, very impactful and transformative journey, and just be big and be bold and just live out loud, just live out loud. Thank you. We'll be back next Tuesday. We have our last key for X3, the 9 Keys to Freedom After Heartbreak. We'll be doing key 9, which is you, complete you. And during that webisode, I'll be talking to you about the difference between finding a relationship that completes you and finding a relationship that enhances you. So for those of you who are interested in getting the book, it's available at my website, www.troybeyer.com. Also, please make sure that you subscribe to my website so I can let you know whenever we have these random surprise webisodes. And is there anything else?
Where can they view these webinars again? If they
they're
want
available,
to?
yeah. They play 24 hours right here on the channel that you're on. And there's always people in the chat room, and it's really a very, very supportive structure. So show up anytime you want. All right. I'd like to thank you, Melissa.
Thank you
so
very much.
You're really great.
Thank you.
You do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank my producers from Instinct LA. You can't see them, but it's because of them that you can see us. So thanks a lot. Have a very, very powerful week, and give yourself the freedom to want so you can eventually be free from want. Okay? Take care.
Good night.